Hi and welcome. Today I'm going to share with you 3 simple techniques to start earning money as a therapist. Has anyone told you you can't make a living being a therapist? Yeah, me too. And if you can resonate with that, if somebody told you that you cannot make a living being a therapist, drop me a comment in the description below. And I faced a few people telling me I can't do it. The first one was my dad. He said to me along the lines, "Who's going to pay you to touch them?" In fact, he used another word. He said, "Who's going to pay you to poke them?" What a strange thing to say. But worse than that, when I decided I was going to go back into being a shiatsu therapist, because I actually trained at university as a complementary therapist, but at the time didn't know how to do it as a job. So I ended up in a normal 9 to 5 job. And when I decided I wanted to go back to being a shiatsu therapist, I thought, before I put a load of time and effort and studying, I wanted to see if I could simply make a living being a therapist. And this was over 15 years ago. And back then, social media isn't what it is today. So I was tracking down shiatsu therapists by finding their websites. And once I got the website, I sent them an email. Simple question: can you make money? Can you make a living being a shiatsu therapist? And of maybe 100 replies, I think something like 97% replied to me out of 100 emails I sent out. And what they all said is, no, you can't. Not unless you're doing it part-time and you've got another income, or if you're doing shiatsu part-time and you're a shiatsu teacher, then you can do it. And in fact, one lady even wrote a blog post about me asking the question, saying that, you know, this guy had sent her this email and she felt it was a stupid question because obviously with shiatsu it's a lifestyle, it's not a living. And when I read her blog post, in all honesty, I was gutted. I was mortified. I sat there and I thought, well, that's that then, isn't it? That dream of being a therapist is out the window. Now, as it happened that day, a friend of mine came around, and he came around with like one of them Sunday papers, you know, the big ones that they used to have, with all the different inserts. And as he were reading the science insert to this, there was the financial version on side. And I looked at it, and the headlines across the front: 97% of all businesses in all sectors fail. So I sat there and I thought, what happens if it's only the 97 that have replied? What happens if the 3% are that busy working, they haven't got round to replying? Or what happens if I simply haven't found the 3% that are out there grafting, making a full-time wage from it? And then I sat there to myself and I thought, well, I just need to be part of that 3%, don't I? And it reminded me of a thing I heard in a scene in a film, I think, somewhere, where they said, shoot for the stars, because even if you miss the sun, you'll eventually hit a star. And I thought, that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to power through and shoot for the stars. And then another thing also came to me. I was thinking about the types of people that have replied to me. And the people that replied to me, they all seem to be women. And they all seem to be middle class. And they were all about the age I am now. Now, one thing that they've all got running through them, that they said they couldn't make it as a living, they probably had a professional career getting paid good money before shiatsu. Whereas me, I was working in a shop. I'm working class, right? I didn't have a big wage. So then I sat there and thought about it, and I thought, realistically, I don't need a lot of money to be earning exactly the same as what I'm earning now. I don't need a lot of clients to earn exactly what I'm earning now. And that brings us into step one, right? Is the fact you don't need to start with a lot of clients. Now, quite often you'll see therapists and they'll create the diary where they've got 20, 25 slots, and then they're out there trying to fill them. And then when all these slots are sat empty, they sat there scratching their head. So what I'd suggest you do is work out how much money you need to live on. How much money you need in order to earn the same amount of money you're earning now. Now that for you might work out that you only need to do 5 clients a week or 10 clients a week, depending how much you're charging and how many clients you need for that. In which case, either have just a couple of days where you're doing your treatments and squeeze them all in. So you might just say, right, I only need 10 clients a week. I'm just going to work maybe Monday, Tuesday doing clients, right? In which case, you set that up. You put it out to the universe. Monday, Tuesday, I do 5 clients each day. Now for me, I was doing 2 a night, right? So I was still working a little bit initially. And I thought I'll just get 2 clients a night. And once I get to 10, that'll be the point where I can leave my job and start working on building it. So even when I moved to where I am now, I was like, right, I'm going to get 3 clients a day, 5 days a week. And I just aimed at filling that. And once you can fill that, once you can fill either 8 slots, 10 slots or 12 slots, add a couple more in. And then add a couple more in. Because it's easier to fill if you're only thinking, I only deal with 8 clients a week. Whereas if you're going for 20, 25 clients, you're going to struggle, especially initially, and it's going to become quite disheartening. The other aspect is going back to what I said before, and really this should have been step one, and that's belief, right? You need to believe that you're in that 3%, right? But don't just believe and say, because I'm a big believer in The Secret and the law of attraction. So believe that you can be a full-time therapist, but don't just sit back on that belief. You know, you might put it out to the universe, but also be ready to do some actual work. As for step 3, one of the key things that you want to be looking at is when you've got downtime. And what I mean by downtime is if you've said at 10 o'clock you're going to have an hour session, and say you don't fill that session, don't sit around the house drinking tea and watching loose women. That's no good. Likewise, don't work on other aspects of your business. Work on one key part of your business, and that is social media. Say to yourself, right, I've not got a client in, I'm going to create a post. Now, whether that's a photo or a video, you want to create a post and get the message out there, who you are and what you do, and that will fill them slots. Now, in our next video, we're going to have a little look at what sort of social media posts you can be putting out there in order to draw clients in. So check that out now.